Will Donald Trump follow in the 647-year-old footsteps of Bartolomeo Prignano? No, he won't.
Jon Stewart just took aim at MSNBC again, and it was a perfect example of how to tear something down with comedy.
You see what you're doing to people, Trump? MSNBC's got to waste valuable airtime fact-checking your f***ing nonsense. Time they could have spent frowning, sighing, and rolling their eyes.
The Daily Show hosts completely exposed their constant spin, cheap shots, and unbelievable hypocrisy. And yes, it was on fire. Good news for you. We've got all the best moments, so get ready. This takedown has more surprises than an MSNBC panel debate.
Trump shared an AI-generated image of himself depicted as the Pope on social media yesterday.
MSNBC is basically losing its mind trying to link President Trump to some big evil plan. Their desperation is so extreme it's starting to feel like a comedy sketch. At this rate, they'd probably accuse him of trying to take over the world. If he sneezed with too much confidence, for example, just days before Pope Leo XIV was chosen, Trump shared a clearly AI-made photo of himself dressed as the Pope. It was an obvious joke, silly and harmless, but MSNBC freaked out. Their media machine went into full drama mode, like it was another Watergate. They claimed it wasn't a joke, but a serious threat to democracy, the Vatican, and maybe even the climate. The outrage was so over the top you'd think Trump tried to make himself a saint. Spoiler, he didn't. But MSNBC doesn't let facts get in the way of their outrage, so Jon Stewart called them out, and it was hilarious.
Not the most presidential thing, but Trump and the Pope do share the same taste in interior design, so it's not the worst fit. And it's just a troll. It's not hurting anybody. I mean, Trump wasn't going to heaven anyway, so it's not like it's gonna... I'm not gonna get distracted by it. But he can't really be the Pope, can he? Can he be the Pope?
Obviously, Trump can't be the Pope. He's not Catholic, not a priest, and he's definitely not learning Latin anytime soon. But trust MSNBC to twist a silly meme into a wild Vatican conspiracy. In their latest meltdown, they claim Trump's AI-generated Pope image isn't just a joke, it's some sneaky plan to gain religious power and control people's minds. Seriously? It sounds less like news and more. It's like something out of a dramatic novel. This non-stop effort to turn Trump into a comic book villain isn't just exhausting. It's actually harmful. It's all about creating outrage, causing division, and hoping something finally sticks. But Jon Stewart isn't playing along. He's exposing the nonsense with sharp humor and perfect timing. And when Stewart goes in, even MSNBC can't hide behind its usual smug attitude.
The last time a non-cardinal was pope was back in 1378, when the Italian Archbishop Bartolomeo Prignano, who had been a monk, was controversially chosen from outside of the College of Cardinals, and he became Pope Urban VI. So, will Donald Trump follow in the 647-year-old footsteps of Bartolomeo Prignano? No, he won't.
So you've got to wonder, what's the point of making such a big deal out of this? Even Trump wasn't serious about being Pope. He posted a meme, not some official church announcement. So why would MSNBC treat it like a major news scandal? And here's the crazy part. The host knew Trump wasn't actually trying to become Pope. They knew it was a joke. But they still ran an overthought segment analyzing it like it was part of a court case. Why? Because outrage gets attention. Because they'd rather attack a joke meme than cover real news. It's fake journalism at its worst, chasing clicks, pretending to care, and trying to stay relevant now that Trump isn't in the spotlight. Deep down, they probably miss him. But Jon Stewart wasn't buying it. He called out their hypocrisy with sharp, brutal honesty.
You see what you're doing to people, Trump? MSNBC's got to waste valuable airtime fact-checking your f***ing nonsense. Time they could have spent frowning, sighing, and rolling their eyes.
MSNBC's obsession with Trump is so extreme it's like a sickness they can't shake. They're so focused on taking him down, they've lost touch with how ridiculous their own coverage has become. No matter what Trump does, whether it's serious, sarcastic, or made by AI, they instantly spin it into proof that he's some kind of villain. But here's the sad part. Their need to see Trump fail is stronger than any real hope for America to succeed. When anger and ratings are in charge, patriotism gets left behind. They'd rather stir up outrage, spread fear, and keep people divided than admit when something with Trump's name on it might actually help the country. In MSNBC's world, storytelling beats truth and facts are just obstacles. And it's not just Trump. MSNBC also misleads people about everything else. Just look at Joe Scarborough spreading false claims about AOC.
AOC may be more progressive than a lot of people. I also understand that she's one of the most articulate, exciting people in the Democratic field. She goes out with Bernie Sanders, and yeah, she just draws so many people. Very good, very effective in hearings. They need somebody young like AOC. And again, it's not about ideology. She can carry the message forward for a Democratic Party that really needs to reach out to younger Americans.
Yes, let's have a look at just how articulate and impressive AOC is. Prepared to be dazzled by her rare genius.
Even as a waitress, if any of you all else have gone like completely mad,
like whatever, you know, and like or whatever, like just like it's like this like what people are starting to see, at least in the occupation of Palestine.
You use the term the occupation of Palestine. What did you mean by that?
I think what I meant is like the settlements that are increasing in some of these areas and places where Palestinians are experiencing difficulty in access to their housing and homes.
Do you think you can expand on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd also I am not the expert on geopolitics on this issue, you know?
Oh dear, that's AOC over the years. She really is the future.
Take Joe Scarborough. Watch at your own risk.
Seriously, at your own
These people could make the devil look innocent and turn a saint into a criminal all in one news segment. They've turned twisting the truth into an art form. They're masters of spin, experts at bending the facts and prose, at turning half-truths into breaking news. That's exactly why Jon Stewart keeps calling them out. He sees through their slick speeches, fake outrage, and carefully edited stories. And unlike most in the media, he's not scared to speak the truth with sharp humor and brutal honesty. Because in the end, it's not about informing viewers, it's about shaping how people think. But Stewart isn't playing their game. He's exposing the tricks, tearing down the show, and reminding us all. Just because it's on TV doesn't mean it's real. In a world full of spin, Stewart might be the only one still doing real work.
Joe Scarborough has form for saying spectacularly stupid things. It's a requirement of all MSNBC anchors to say silly things or just lie to their audience. Remember when he said this not long before Joe Biden was forced to announce the end of his re-election campaign?
I've said it for years now. He's cogent. But I undersold him when I said he was cogent. He's far beyond cogent. In fact, I think he's better than he's ever been. Intellectually, analytically, because he's been around for 50 years. Start your tape right now, because I'm about to tell you the truth. And F you if you can't handle the truth. This version of Biden, intellectually, analytically, is the best Biden ever. Not a close second. And I've known him for years. The Brzezinskis have known him for 50 years. If it weren't the truth, I wouldn't say it.
Best Biden ever, and F you if you can't handle the truth. Dear, dear.
These days, whenever Joe Scarborough tells us to trust him, or says he's just speaking the truth, I automatically expect a big lie. He's so smooth with his words, he could probably sell sand in the desert. Remember when he confidently told the whole country that Joe Biden was sharp, healthy, and totally in control? Then, just a week later, Biden steps down, and the Democratic Party scrambles to support Kamala Harris. So much for being at his best. Scarborough didn't just make a mistake, he misled the public. And let's be real, he didn't miss the warning signs, he chose to ignore them. Because in Joe's MSNBC bubble, protecting the story always matters more than telling the truth. Integrity is optional, spin is required. The scary part, they know exactly what they're doing, and they're counting on people being too distracted or too trusting to see through it.
Now, Joe Scarborough was telling the dim-witted MSNBC audience not long after that Kamala had it in the bag. She was going to beat Trump.
When you start seeing numbers, real numbers, like what's going on in Georgia, suddenly you feel like telling Democrats that are bitching and moaning about what the Harris campaign's doing, hey, calm down. You know what? Victory is in sight in less than 3 weeks if you go out, work hard, and do your job. The opponent is imploding, and Harris is doing better than ever.
Victory is in sight. Sadly, it wasn't. It was a landslide loss that was in sight.
The look on Joe Scarborough's guest's face? Priceless.
Did you catch the look on Joe Scarborough's
It was like watching a man
face?
silently scream, "I can't believe I'm sitting through this." You could tell he didn't believe a word coming from Scarborough. It wasn't so much an interview as it was an awkward hostage situation. The guest clearly knew the polls and numbers were showing Kamala Harris was headed for a major loss in the elections. But there was Scarborough, still pushing the same tired optimism and feeding the Democratic base a sugar-coated fantasy. Deep down, he knew the truth. Can't ignore numbers that bad and keep a straight face unless you know you're selling a lie. But instead of being honest, he chose to dish out false hope, because in his world, the story matters more than reality. But you know what's worse? Getting caught lying live on TV and then having to eat your words and apologize.
That he's just been a little less visible than I think a lot of people, Trump observers, expected he would be.
Yeah, well, reportedly he's been visible at nightclubs far more than he has been on the 7th floor of the Hoover building.
Oh, really? It wasn't long before we got this correction.
And now let's circle back to a segment from Friday's show. Frank Figliuzzi was on that morning during this hour discussing the work of administration officials. At the end of that segment, Figliuzzi said that FBI Director Kash Patel has reportedly been more visible at nightclubs than at his office at FBI headquarters. This was a misstatement. We have not verified that claim.